Hey everyone! So it seems Xbox is making big waves and big changes, and they are looking to change the landscape of how gaming is evolving overall. Now, whether they were pressured into this in the way the Xbox One turned out, or other matters, or as people are saying, it's because they bought ABK, which I pretty much doubt is the case. I know a lot of people have been saying, including some of the bigger influencers, that they regret Microsoft buying ABK, but all Tim Stewart said, I guess on Microsoft in general, is that buying ABK accelerated their plans by 10 years. So, in hindsight, this was always the plan anyway for Microsoft. It just allowed them to get to where they wanted to a lot sooner. And as Paris keeps saying, it's extremely aggressive in how they're pushing forward and wanting this whole thing to be. Now, Microsoft has a plan, they have a vision, and they are really going for it. And this is an Xbox ad campaign has really pushed it in that direction, and they have picked the lane and are going gung ho. But what does this mean for the consumer? What does this mean for where we are? Now that they've picked a lane, what does the new Xbox actually look like? Let's find out after the drop. So the new Xbox is pretty much what some of you might envision. It's going to be a box, it's going to be a console, but it's not going to be one. The Series S and the Series X seems to have been an experiment. Yes, you've heard that right. Basically, you've got the low-end model, which is the Series S, and you've got the high-end model, which is the Series X. Now, obviously, the S is a much cheaper version and a much more affordable way to get into next-gen gaming. Now, despite what problems it may or may not have had in getting games working on that platform, is irrelevant. What you need to know right now is that that was the test bed, in my personal opinion, for what's coming next. Now, if you go back to January and check out any of my videos throughout the whole of this year, I've been saying that a revisionary console is what's going to be coming. This is what the future of Xbox is. Obviously, the prominent future is cloud gaming, but they've been looking at this for a while. I've been badgering on about this for over a year, but now articles are coming out talking about it, and guess what? Now it's the main news. I've been talking about this for a whole year. Do you know who else has been talking about this? Risk It. And no one listened to any of us because we just don't have a voice in the media. We don't have a big enough voice out there. But we've been talking about this for quite some time. We've been saying this. And no one listened. And now, after Jez Corden's article, everyone is jumping on top of this like it's brand new news when it really isn't. Anyone that's been to my streams will know that I've been talking about this, and this has been Microsoft's plan going forward. At least that's what it looked like. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not a hip-hop gamer. I'm not going to say that 100% this was going to happen. He may have his contacts and sources, but as anything, things can change. So he reported this on, I think, the 19th of January. We had the leaked information on the 15th of January. But at the end of the day, from that point on, it was very clear to me that this is where Microsoft was going. There was no doubt about it. This was where it was going. And despite the fact that I had my reservations on how it would play out, how it would pan out, what it would look like, it's now becoming perfectly clear that they are determined to revolutionize gaming. And what you're going to get is a PC, essentially, with the Xbox OS. Now, that is where this is all going. Now, we've been talking about having a unified menu system, a unified kind of dashboard to, keep all of the Xboxes or the mediums that you can get Xbox on, whether it's a handheld PC, a PC, or your Xbox, to keep it all the same in one unified place. Well, now that is pretty much what's going to happen, at least in my opinion. We know that for 18 months to 2 years now, they've been working on a dashboard, and they've got it working on Windows 11. It is actually working, it just doesn't work as well as it should do. So it probably needs another 6 months to a year to cook, maybe even by Windows 12. I don't know. But at the end of the day, that is where it's been going, creating like a sandbox inside Windows, just like the Android APK is. And then when you boot it up, you basically boot up an Xbox OS. You don't see any Windows, you don't see anything else, you just see the Xbox OS. But underneath, it is pretty much just a PC. But what does this mean for you as an Xbox gamer? Well, all your backwards compatibility games are going to work. They're going to be there for you to dive into immediately, because it is still, at the root core of it, running on the Xbox OS, which means it's running on the XGDK, which means you'll be able to play those games. One of the biggest fears that I see from Xbox fans going forward is the fact that they don't actually know if, this new vision, what is it going to mean for them? What is it going to mean for their back catalog? Because a lot of people with the FPS boost and the 4K upgrade that it gets and for some of the games it's really drastic, right? If you've tried Final Fantasy 13, for example, it gets a really nice sharp uplift. In fact, if you plug the 360 version of Final Fantasy 13 in, it actually downloads the HD videos so you get them in 1080p instead of the 720p versions, which is really cool. The CGIs that are in place and the graphics themselves are upscaled to 4K, really sharpened out, and they look really nice. So the FPS boost doesn't just boost your FPS, but it does remarkable, magicry in the backgrounds to make them look better. So for a lot of people, these are really important as they go forward, and they want these features to be working on their new next generation console, which we know is coming, even though you have a bunch of people out there who still say it's not coming. But the reality is, it is coming, and it is going to be very, very, if you're in with the whole thing, it's going to be amazing. And I personally can't wait to see what this actually becomes, because when we're talking about, revisionary consoles, we are talking about, the fact that you're going to have the base Xbox, which is manufactured by Xbox. You are going to then have them manufactured by Asus, by all sorts of companies, by Asus, Lenovo, Alienware, the whole works are going to get into this and build Xboxes. And it's essentially just going to be a PC. We don't know if it's going to be modular. If it is, that would actually be kind of cool, but I can see that being a bit of a problem going forward. But what we do know is that ultimately, underneath the hood, it is just a PC. But it's a PC that can do so much more. It can play your Xbox games, and we've seen the news and the desires of Phil to get the actual things working on a unified platform in order to get, other stores on there. Now you're going to have a bunch of people saying, well, if they do that, they're not making any money off that store, so why would they want to do that? Who cares? Yada, yada, yada. The bottom line is, as a consumer, I don't care if how much money Microsoft makes. They're $1 trillion company, and none of that money comes to me. But if they are providing me with hardware that will allow me to play games, and more games at that fact, not just limited to Xbox games, but I'll be able to play the PC ports of PlayStation games, which it's a PC, right? So they can't actually really stop it. It's going to have an OEM Windows underneath everything that will operate within the Xbox ecosystem, Xbox OS. So there's no real way for them to stop you from doing that. I get it with GeForce Now because you have to kind of give permission for NVIDIA to stream the game. But this isn't like that. I can install Steam on any platform I damn want, and it will run any game I damn want, as long as my PC is capable of, or that app, that machine is capable of running it. And considering the Xbox is essentially going to become just a PC, essentially, but a affordable PC, that changes everything. So now you're getting, those PlayStation games that never actually came before. You're getting your Xbox games, you're getting your backwards compatibility, and you're getting a bunch of Steam games as well that will work on your platform. This is actually a really big change. Now, when we're talking about the revisionary platforms, we also talk about the fact that, let's say the original Xbox, and I'm just going to use T-flops here. I know it's really bad, but I'm just giving an example, okay? So please, none of you crazy people out there that want to constantly bash on about how T-flops are important, not important, I literally don't care. I'm using this as a form of measurement guide for you to understand what I'm talking about. It's not depicting anything else. It's just a guide. I'm getting that in there, so I don't want to see any of you out there coming and trying to be all scientific with me and saying I'm wrong. It's just a guide. Let's say the original Xbox that comes out in 2026 or 2025 even at this rate. I mean, why not? Why not? Why not release a new Xbox in 2025? There's absolutely no reason at this point if that's the way they're going, but it'll probably be a little bit later. But let's say it's at, say, 14 teraflops. This is just a hypothetical. Asus then releases their one at 18 teraflops. Lenovo releases theirs at 20 teraflops. Right? You can see that now you've basically got the original Xbox, then you've got the Pro, and then the Pro Plus, and these manufacturers can create whatever they really want. When a developer is making a game for Xbox, it will have to work on the base console. As long as it works on there, then the ones above it will definitely get a performance boost. So you as a consumer now can buy different levels of an Xbox. Now that might seem like confusing or scary at first, but think of it like the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X. That's literally it. So it's going to be, you're going to have the Xbox Series X as your base model, X Plus, X Plus Plus, whatever they're going to call it. And as a consumer, having more choice, especially for those that don't want to go into the whole Windows and PC era and kind of still want that console feel, well, the fact that these are all going to potentially have an Xbox OS running them, that simplifies things exponentially. What goes on in the background underneath the hood is completely irrelevant. That's handled by Microsoft and the development team, and they are going to do their magic and make sure that if you download an Xbox game off Epic or off a PC game off Steam or whatever you download, it will install and run just as fine because there's no wacky custom hardware there. It is basically just a PC, and this is the beauty of where this is going. This then now obviously opens up a broader option for Microsoft to just say, right, yes, our games are everywhere. We no longer have a traditional console. So when you're looking at the actual manufacturers, Samsung could make an Xbox. They are really popular in Korea. So that's got a much stronger brand in Korea than, say, Microsoft. So that can actually shift more of these platforms. In, say, like Taiwan, Asus would be the primary manufacturer to make these, right? Because Asus is a strong brand in Taiwan. As you can see, what this opens up for Microsoft is getting away from that image that Microsoft has in certain parts of the world and actually give it to the other manufacturers and say, right, I want you to just go make an Xbox. Here's the blueprint. You can make it stronger if you want. You can offer a base model like we do and then a pro model if you want to. But make sure your branding's on there. It will sell more. So what this means is, not only are they going to get their console out to a wider audience, and I know people are saying, well, it's all about the ecosystem. It is about the ecosystem. You're going to have the cloud, you're going to have PCs, you're going to have consoles, you're going to have all sorts of things. But what this does is it allows it to go everywhere and kind of utilize the manufacturers that are paramount and number one within those territories to sell more. This is just a no-brainer at this point. And honestly, from where I'm sitting, despite the fact that people are, on edge, especially when it comes to exclusives and whatnot, what this opens up is that Microsoft no longer has a platform. Yes, they have a console, but if Asus, Samsung, Hitachi, Fujitsu, all of these are making consoles in Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and then other parts of the US are making, Microsoft's going to have their own in US, and Europe could have their own branding of their manufacturers, if they even have any. This just tells you that they are now so open as a platform that anyone can make an Xbox console and sell it. Can you imagine the doors that are going to be open for Game Pass? Can you imagine how many companies Microsoft is going to gear up to move in and buy? And even if those games go day and date to other platforms like PlayStation and Switch, I couldn't care less as long as they're coming day one to Game Pass and my subscription. As an Xbox gamer, you shouldn't be any happier than you are. That should make your day. Of course, if you're not in Game Pass and you don't like Game Pass, I can see how this could be bad news for you. But this is the way Microsoft is going. This is the future. This is where they're heading. And all I can say is buckle up because this is it. This is really where it's going. And I think it's when you boil it down, As a consumer, all you should care about is games and how those games are coming to you. And if Microsoft is making their console freely available, which will potentially allow it to sell more than it currently is right now, those third-party publishers will have no real reason to ever skip Xbox. And even if they do, you'll have the PC side to bolster your collection, meaning that ultimately you are going to get every game, including those games that are only on PC, on your platform. And as far as Microsoft is concerned, every studio and publisher that they buy, and I guarantee you, 2025, you will be hearing more acquisitions for publishers and studios by Xbox, because that is what this opens up, because no one really stands in front of Tencent or Embracer because they don't have a platform. Well, that's what's happening here. And that is the big thing about this whole move. And it just means more games for you on Game Pass. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, Game Pass sucks and all this. I don't care about it. The reality is Game Pass is awesome. And it saves people loads of money, and it allows people who can't afford gaming to actually game. Whether it's via a console or via cloud, it allows more people to enjoy gaming. And that is the beauty of Game Pass. The fact that day one games come on there is amazing, right? So, honestly, this couldn't be a better move for Microsoft. They've been planning this for a long, long time. ABK didn't just spring this on. They've been planning this for over a decade. And the fact that ABK came along and pushed their plans ahead quite exponentially just means that just tells you, when Tim Stewart tells you that, it means that this was always the plan. And as far as I'm concerned, the future for Xbox and Xbox gaming is bright. But what does this mean for the console wars and for those that are looking to fight amongst each other? It means that you're going to have to go and kind of find another platform to grift against. Maybe Sony fans are going to go to Nintendo. Who knows? But as far as I'm concerned, as an Xbox fan, if I'm getting more games on Game Pass, if I'm getting more games on my platform, on my console, regardless of whether it's called an Asus, a Panasonic, or whatever, it's still going to have the Xbox branding on there. And if it's run on the Xbox OS like people think it is, this is going to be a true game changer. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be massive. And I can't wait to see how this all develops. And I'm really hoping, we will see the true effects of this come CES. We'll see the first steps. I mean, that could potentially be when the first real advance forward could happen, since Valve and Microsoft are coming together at Lenovo to talk about what their handheld stuff is. That could be the perfect place to make the announcement. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, folks. Does this excite you as much as it excites me? Because it really excites me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this actually goes. But you let me know in the comment section below, and let's take it, and let's have that discussion. Until the next one, stay safe and remain legend.